We all agree Earth is round. Gravity keeps our feet on the ground. The sun sets and no one denies that in the morning it will rise. But questions of love swing us round and round. I say upward and you say down. Yeah, I hear that. I was going to ask you to put a little bit more mustard in your vocals.
I did have some mustard.
I did. I was thinking of the prize pills. Thank you.
Okay, vocal 3, take 2.
Is wrong all night long. Yep.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah.
I can switch if you don't want to be on the edge.
Oh, we still have that.
Okay.
Sorry, we still have your band.
Correct.
Hit that one more time.
Yeah. We're okay. We can start a minute or so late, but anyway.
Here it comes.
Maybe just a wee bit more. There you go. That's better. Yeah, that seems pretty good. But I am a member.
I know I did too. I told Martha just to get the crap out of me. I thought it was a freebie.
Yes, yes. All right. We'll take a little pause before we get started here. Just because it's a slow Good evening. Welcome to 331 Club. The, let's see, 36, 37, 38, 39. This is the 40th edition of the 331 Bosso Poetry Company. Been doing it once a month since 3 years ago in July. So thanks for being with us here tonight. We have a pretty hardy crew of regulars, although typically they're kind of late right now. But of course our special guest showed up and even got here early. So we've got some fun in store for you tonight. Actually I'm the host. And in addition to, this is my band Sonic Love Child. So it's Shirley and Nicole and Mark and I'm Dave. So we're happy to be here. Take good care of Sarah and her chums behind the bar because she's taking good care of you tonight. We'll give a shout out to Jason on the sound. Thanks to the 331 Club for making this possible. So we're going to open up with a song written by our founder, Kevin Brixius, who's no longer here to sing his own music, but that's the beauty of if you write a song that catches people's ears, they're going to play it too, and so you get a little taste of immortality that way, I guess. So we're grateful to Kevin for founding Bosso Poetry Company, and we are live streaming to YouTube tonight. So this is all original material that you'll be hearing this evening, and we hope you have a nice time. This is a good one to sing right after an election in which, you know, a Democratic Socialist takes over the mayor's office in New York City, I guess. It's called Member of the Rabble, written by Kevin Brixius. I am a member of the rabble. I put emphasis on the wrong syllable. I do not meet with the social elite. I do not speak while I babble. I do my thing with the underlings. I never read any warnings. I go to bed with the song in my head. I go to work in the morning. I am a member of the peasants. I do not get too many birthday presents. I often go for tobacco, you know. I've done it since adolescence. I get some beer when I want some here. I put it in the refrigerator. I take a drink when I don't want to think. I sober up a little later. I do not go to the opera show. I never win at Scrabble. I watch TV for the philosophy. It can be so entertaining. I like the ads cause they show me the without a lot of explaining. I like the eyes 'cause they show me the facts without a lot of explaining. All right, we're going to double up, give you a double shot of Kevin Brixia's music here. Here's a song he wrote about getting stuck in traffic. It's called Bumper to Bumper. Well, it's bumper to bumper, fender to fender, dreaming about margaritas in the blender. The sun sets over the freeway tonight, dead stopping not a break in sight. The workday's done for the saint and the sinner. You drive like the devil, but you don't get far. You call your wife to say you're coming late for dinner. You turn around and there she's driving in the next car. She says it's bumper to bumper, fender to fender, dreaming about margaritas in the blender. The sun sets over the freeway tonight, dead stopping not a break in sight. Got me a boat that's big as an island. It flies like sunshine, tickle in the air. Get me to the lake and for sure I'll be smiling. The way it looks, it could be Monday before we get there. Because it's bumper to bumper, fender to fender. We all go home to our sunbeam blenders. The sun sets over the lawnmower tonight. Stock still and not a soul inside. Thanks very much, and thanks to Kevin. Might be a chance to read some of his poetry a little bit later on in between other readers. We'll see how that goes. All right. Well, maybe we have a little momentum going into the next round of elections. We'll see. I noticed the Supreme Court was taking a little bit of exception to the interpretation that allows for such a liberal application of tariffs, such that a person might wake up in the middle of the night and decide they don't like a commercial north of the border and slap a 25% tariff on our good friends in Canada, but we'll see. We'll see. I think they got a plan B, so if even assuming, I don't know, was anybody else listening or watching to the court proceedings today? There were some conservative justices that were not happy, I don't think, with the government's case. So we'll see what happens. Who knows? All right.
All right, this is one I wrote called Shine. Everybody's got a gift to give and an inner light that shines. We take for granted most of the time. But today's a new day, and I can hear my heart rise. Taking nothing for granted, gonna let my light shine, 'cause I'm free. Free. change I long to see in the world. I'm free to be the man my dog thinks I am. Shine your light, shine your love, come on baby. Shine your light, shine your love, a little bit brighter. Shine your light, shine your love, come on honey. Shine your light, shine your love, come on baby. Shine. Everybody's got times of doubt. Everybody's got times of pain. And in every life, there will come rain. But when the dark cloud passes and you go out and play, the doors will be open and the sun will shine your way. 'Cause you're free to be the star we all know you are. You're free to shine your love like the sun in the sky. Shine your light, shine your love, come on baby. Shine your light, shine your love, a little bit brighter. Shine your light, shine your love, come on honey. Shine your light, shine your love, come on baby. Shine. Time will pass, so will we. Think about our legacy. Imagine a world where the children know their precious gifts and we celebrate their souls. 'Cause they're free to fly up high like the birds in the sky. They're free and you're free and I'm free to live in harmony. Shine your light, shine your love, come on baby. Shine your light, shine your love, a little bit brighter. Shine your light, shine your love, come on honey. Shine your light, shine your love, come on baby. Shine. Thank you.
Well, here's kind of a silly country song. It's got, has all the elements in it, you know. Not the only one to try and put everything into all the key elements of a country song, mom in prison, and trucks and dogs and that kind of thing, but, you know, beer and wine, etc. I think you get the idea. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. You made it clear that you no longer love me. The loving you is what I know the best. Even though I tell myself it's finished, my foolish heart will never let me rest. I sent my heart to prison when I fell in love with you. No matter how hard I try, I never will be free. I thought that when you left me, I would find somebody new. But I just sing this sad old song, and it's no good for me. I tried so hard to move beyond my sorrow. Started drinking wine instead of beer. My head hurts just the same, and in the morning it seems like crying time is always here. I sent my heart to prison when I fell in love with you. No matter how hard I try, I never will be free. I thought that when you left me, I would find somebody new. But I just sing this sad old song, and it's no good for me. Mother told me look for a companion, someone you can count on, tried and true. Now I got myself a dog to care for, but all he does is howl and make me blue. I sent my heart to prison when I fell in love with you. No matter how hard I try, I never will be free. I thought that when you left me, I would find somebody new. But I just sing this sad old song, and it's no good for me. Started driving truck to leave behind me all the heartache, the sadness, and the pain. All my lonely travels just remind me that all I've done is drive myself insane. I sent my heart to prison when I fell in love with you. No matter how hard I try, I never will be free. I thought that when you left me, I'd find somebody new. But I just sing this sad old song, and it's no good for me. Sometimes when I sing this song, it somehow sets me free. Thank you. Appreciate it. If you're enjoying yourself, drop a little something in the tip jar. We share it. We share the tips with about a dozen people or so tonight, so just know. And the house, is generous to us too, but the tips really help to make it, help us grease the palms of a few poets. And we thank you for that. If you get tired searching for love everywhere, don't give up. Let your desire carry you there. Here comes love when you least expect it. Here comes love just around the bend. Here comes love if you can accept it. And if you don't, it comes round again. Rush off to romance, anticipation on the run. It's a fast start, but the finish is a broken-hearted one. Here comes love when you least expect it. Here comes love just around the bend. Here comes love if you can accept it. And if you don't, it comes round again. Yesterday's troubles put today's love to the test. Let go of old sorrow. Don't use thorns to build your nest. Here comes love when you least expect it. Here comes love just around the bend. Here comes love if you can accept it. And if you don't, it comes round again. Here comes love. Here comes love just around the bend. Here comes love if you can accept it. And if you don't, it comes round again and again and again. All right, thank you so much. We got one more for you, another original song here to kind of wrap things up. Wrote this one for a friend of mine who was going through a bit of a rough period in her life. And I'm sorry to say she died about 4 months ago, but I did know her a good long time in the in-between time, so. Pardon me for just doing a last minute check of the tuning. All right, it's called Lullaby. which seems appropriate if it's our last song. Okay, give me a second here. Good night, sweet orphan, sleep tight. My thoughts will be with you tonight. Let the stars in the sky fill your dreams in your eyes and bring you softly into the light. Some days it's hard to recall why we were put here at all. With a cross on our back and rocks in our path, it's easy to stumble and fall. And standing up guarantees sometimes falling down. But try some faith, it may lead to softer ground. And that is all I have to say. Just a song for the end of the day. But if the message is clear and I'm standing near, and tell me you heard it this way. Again, we're Sonic Love Child. This is Nicole, Mark, Shirley. I'm Dave, and I'll be right back with you. We're going to bring up our next guest as soon as we unplug, as Mr. Terry Foles will be holding forth for you in just a moment. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, I'm a diva. So I've got a few poems that I'm going to read tonight. I'm going to start out with some new stuff. Hangnail indifference, fruit and cheese box, on table gray formica, October scents and Renaissance, penance of the pirate's dance, lonesome shadow perdition as clay figurine shapes, museum floors of marble, and big wall space fully shaped in technicolor nighttime dreams. All they had left were the IPAs, but I was thirsty. Lips are loose and flaking strings. Another letter and bill from the county. News shred collage in a blue sundown valley. Action men in jerseys flash their gleam teeth spirits unaware. Hernia bulge, eye twitch, and scratch-fed nasal thorax. Thank you for the tour. 3 hours and 7 years. Pack your clothes and lunches. They might be spreading rubber pellets. For those who can run, good luck. For those who cannot, good luck. Carrot Top MC says pick a door and spreads his careless joy. If you are insipid, you are real. I hear nobody talk of Michelangelo or even wild toboggan flights. It's still the dry season, within reason. But a season without reason is the answer to the yes and no. Nothing and no reason to know. Life is for the living, the giving river of livers and teeth and receipts. Please stand by. The bugs are taking over the counter. Dead skeleton news. Here comes a bulletin. I can't get away from the story of myself and the tasks I know one by one. I have a book out. It's been out for about a year and a half, maybe. It's called There Is No Moon. I have copies with me, and they're for sale. I know economy is pretty bad right now, and poetry is kind of a luxury. I get it. I mean, I may or I may not have health insurance next year, so we'll see about that. Fuck this regime. Okay, I'll do another new one. Stepped off the board in dismal Green Line 5 or 7 minutes ago, maybe 9. I'm headed across the bridge for some Ukrainian stew and imported beer. A plane flies overhead. I look up, see nothing. The tall buildings make the sky above the street very narrow, a soft intermittent breeze and 91-degree swelter. The air moves, but the white cumulus clouds do not. Another really bad bus driver. That's 2 in one day. Not a record, but something to think about. Dad will be gone 5 years now, in 3 weeks' time. Another point of fact. And I'll do one more. Online. This is from about 5 years ago. No title. As none of them are, if you've probably noticed. Half a dozen times today I hear sirens flashing or see the blue and red lights of a cop car going somewhere. Where to fast on a road? Winter's coming. I'm drunk sporadic, telling stories once I read them, like minds and nighttime visions read. A holy artist braille, coughing on the keyboard, stiff and brittle. Dolls are catching up everywhere in time and place. evil like their broken painted face. The staff is unrelenting. What? What'd you say? The music is burned out saucer bilge. The stuff of pneumatic daydreams, an audience of vast unknowns, ghosts of a feather, bachelorettes, and gray diamond sellers. What did you expect? Gray is night, shame the same, gallery costume fortnight, gray salad wonders, once on the dial, broken cold as promise. So, yeah, that'll be about it. Thank you.
All right, one more time, please, for Mr. Terry Foles. Our next guest is Lynette Rainey Grindell. Come on down, Lynette.
Don't you mean come on up? The price is not right. Okay, I am not going to read poetry tonight. I'm going to read a little bit of fiction, try to make it fit within the time range. Some of you know I'm writing historical fiction very loosely based on my Finnish grandparents, who I know almost nothing about, which means it's good to make things up about them. So this scene takes place in approximately 1909. Mari is the main character. She has a 3-year-old daughter, 3 to 4 years old daughter, Anu, and they are in Finland still. Her husband and his brother have been in the United States trying to make enough money to bring the rest of the family over. Here we go. Mommy? Yes, baby. Mari patted her headscarf, wondering if she should tie it again. What is that? Mari followed the point of her daughter's tiny index finger towards the engagement photo where it hung on the wall. No, not the photo, the wall behind it. Something seemed to be staining the cream-colored plaster a reddish-brown color. She reached out to touch it and felt her fingers sink slightly into wet and bubbling plaster. Mari yelped and hopped back reflexively. She looked up and saw a large patch of the same rusty color spreading on the ceiling. Oh, no! She grabbed the picture and looked around to see if there was anything else she needed to move. Surely part of the ceiling was in danger of coming down. It must be from someone upstairs. She walked up the stairs and rapped on the door of the unit above hers, but there was no answer. She knocked on another door, and again there was no answer. By now she heard a door downstairs open and someone called up the stairwell, wondering what was happening. Something from this apartment is leaking into my room. I'm worried that the ceiling will collapse. She hurried back down the stairs and showed the neighbor, an old woman who went out Sundays in an open wagon with her son and daughter-in-law. The woman shook her head at the mess, clucking at the impending disaster. We need to get someone with a key, she said. Next building, first unit. There should be a woman there with a key. Mari lifted Anu to her hip and made her way to the supervisor in the next building. She stood well back as the building supervisor pushed the key into the lock, but not far enough back to avoid the foul smell of rotting fish that wafted out. The supervisor exclaimed in disgust. She walked into the room, waving her hands around, trying to shoo the scent away. A window that faced the back of the building was open, and a metal trough ran from that to a waist-high stav barrel surrounded by a wet floor. Some kind of cistern? Mari stayed on the other side of the threshold and watched the other woman stalk up to the barrel. Someone is keeping dead fish in this barrel, she said, shaking her head. Maybe once they were live fish. Crazy people, this barrel is leaking into your apartment. We need buckets. But, Mari began, if you don't want the entire mess draining into your rooms, you'll help me now, and you'll find some people on the street to help too. Mari assented. She left Anu in the doorway and ran down the stairs for a pail. When she came back up, the old woman was staring at the open door of the apartment. Well, how will you help? Mari asked her. The woman grunted and came back holding a pail, saying she would see if anyone on the street could help. It was gruesome work, but they finally had enough drained of the barrel so 2 men could wrestle it down the stairs. Then Mari and Anu went back downstairs with the supervisor to assess the damage to their apartment. The supervisor poked at the walls, muttering exclamations of disgust, and complained about crazy people whose brains were too soft to live in a modern city. They had also stopped paying rent and probably abandoned everything, fearful of the vaki of the dead fish. It was the color of the stain that went from the ceiling down the wall that was so disturbing, Mari thought. It reminded her of old, dried blood. She shivered at the thought. This was not a good omen. True, she had just received a letter from Yuho, and he seemed fine, but that was written a few weeks ago. She looked at the clock. It was now too late to go to the telegraph office. She would have to do it tomorrow. It was going to be all right, she told herself, but still the stain seemed to be spreading. The death spirit of the fish wouldn't spread to her and Anu, would it? She shook her head to dislodge those thoughts. It was as if her mother-in-law Lisa's superstitions were rubbing off on her. I'll stop there. Let me know if that's weird enough or not weird enough. Thank you very much.
That was the most expeditious 10-minute reading I've ever seen. But we'll get Lynette back up here a little bit later and do some more good stuff. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, we have a special guest with us here tonight. Yeah, a special guest. And tonight, we welcome author, teacher, and 3-time Poetry Slam champion, Dralandra Larkins, who is making her second appearance on the Bosso Poetry Company stage. She was also featured on in addition to being a featured poet for us, she's featured on the cover of Minnesota Women's Press magazine in the month of September, and recently released her first collection of poetry this past August. It's titled Before I Lie, and you brought copies with you tonight? Most definitely. So they'll be available for sale for you to purchase. So please give a warm Bosso Poetry Company welcome to Dralandra Larkins.
Hey, y'all. Good to see you tonight. Thank you so much for coming out. My name's Dralandra Larkins. First, thank you so much to Irene and Dave for giving me this platform to perform. Right? Yeah, thank you so much. As a self-published author, it's really hard to find opportunities to, speak and, perform your work. So again, I'm really grateful that Irene and Dave gave me this opportunity. So I just really want to show some gratitude. So this book is funded by the Minnesota State Arts Board. So thank you to the voters for voting for the arts. So thank you. And this first piece I'm going to start with is called Spell Work Inherited, How My Mother Taught Me to Write. I've been writing like my mama hemmed poems into my poems. Like every woman in my bloodline braided ink into my fingers. My bloodline been good with their hands, weaving, working, worrying, praying. I just let it sing on the page and I turn all that labor into language. My mama plants gardens in shadows where the light doesn't reach. Taught me to plant forgiveness in small resistant pots. Taught me how to water empathy, how to pour love, how to kiss the roots of things too stubborn to change. My mama taught me to speak life into dry ground. She taught me stitching ain't just cloth work. To sew is soul work. showed me how to thread grief into fabric, how to bind myself back together, how to knot what poverty and violence tried to unravel, how to tighten what the world tried to pull apart. My mama says, I'm the little girl who wrote on her wrist, who clenched her fist around a pen, used poetry like gin to write away her sin, who gripped a ballpoint pen and squeezed her worries into verse because poetry was the only magic that ever cast her back first. I learned that poems are just garments for a soul too wild to wear ordinary cloth. We are spellcasters. Every poem a spoke in mutiny, a rebellion, an alchemy of hope pressed into callous hands, too tired to hold dreams, yet still we're casting spells. We turn suffering into superpowers, transmute our wounds into wisdom, and pain into progression towards our purpose. We take the bruises, backhands, and broken wishes and spin them into bridges, into bonfires, into blood songs. I learned early that being too loud meant being labeled dangerous, that the world won't always hand you a storybook ending, but I could carve folk tales out of misery, weave fairy tales from fractures, become my own wizard with nothing but a pen and a crooked spine full of stubbornness. Poetry was never just art. Writing is vital. There's poetry in prayers, so poetry is survival, it's spell work, it's science. The way an artist visualizes a mural in their mind, then manifested into the physical, creating is spiritual. And my pen has always been a ritual. Every stanza is a psalm, every rhyme a resurrection, every metaphor is a map back to myself. I am the same little girl who once scribbled spells into drywall begging for a new world. I am the woman who now spits spells into microphones building new worlds out of nothing but breath and ashes of imagination, because poetry is how we conjure breath after the breaking. I master my magic because I stopped waiting for permission to believe. I don't just write for myself. I write like my grandmother's calluses live in my pen, like my mother's prayers bloom between my stanzas, like every broken thing they mended I'm sewing too, but mine comes out in poems instead of hymns. And I've been writing like lineage lives in my hands, like every woman before me knew how to mend what the world tried to tear. I spin what they carried into something that speaks. This is my inheritance, the spell work in my skin. Every word, every line is a patchwork prayer. This is spell work. Thank you so much. This next piece is called Ode to the Hood, where I'm from. It's become a crowd's favorite. I recently won I won a poetry slam in Sauk Rapids at Mirror Theater by performing this poem, so I'm performing it tonight. Oh, and also, this poem is an ode to Lake Street, so anyone familiar? Yeah, so Southside Minneapolis. All right, so yeah, here we go. I'm from elementary and high school dropouts, from playgrounds with torn basketball hoops and stolen dreams. I'm from bus stops and long-ass walks, from Arnold's gun store, Robert's shoes, the liquor store, 7 Mile, $5 boutiques, George Floyd Square, and the corner of Chicago and Lake Street. I'm from the intersections where bullets and color wars meet, from stolen halos and streetlights that don't blink, prayers left on voicemail. From women who wear gold on every finger, poppies rocking rope chains with the Jesus piece, and uncles with bank rolls thick as loyalty. I'm from the Holy Ghost and church. I'm from, but did you still off on her first? From absent birthdays, a deadbeat father, strong mother, and a home where dysfunction is just background noise. Sirens and helicopters sound like a vacation. Where I'm from, the school pipeline to prison isn't a stretch, it's a bus stop. I'm from IEP plans, redlining, yellow tape, Social Security, and Section 8. I'm from hopping gates, cops call, thin walls, pit bulls snarl with silver chains round their napes. I'm from cold cases and superheroes who don't wear capes. From chip polish and cheap paint left molding into slumlords. from evictions and pawning family heirlooms handed down at birth. I'm from a generational curse and witches who survived the spell of poverty. I'm from barehanded healers, seers, medicine women who cut the lie from your body without surgery. I'm from the streets that gave my TT HIV. May she rest in peace. I'm from the bullet in my daddy's knee, the deep scar on my mother's cheek. I'm from collect calls and bail money, halfway houses, screen door, chain guards, steel with brass finish. Who that be? I'm from niggas in ski masks, wearing death like fashion. I'm from tattooed portraits and men and women easily fractured by bad habits. I'm from the war on drugs, Freedom Riders, Little Rock 9. I'm from black women 3 times more likely to die on hospital beds bringing life. I'm from the transatlantic slave, Mississippi muddy boots of trade, from the great migration, tobacco farms and plantations. The fabric of my history burns with wildfires of colonization. I'm from gentrification, where cities are built on one side of the street. I'm from couches wrapped in plastic, Sunday cleanups, lavender incense burning, Keith Sweat, Mary J, and Neo Soul on the stereo. I'm from all those stereotypes. I'm from mud and sand. I'm from my mother's prayers and clasped hands. I'm from prophecy, survival, from faith. Grew up hearing mama say, good things come to those who wait. I'm from her breath when she professed, it ends with me. I am the rose that blossomed, the one that shouldn't have bloomed from concrete. This next piece is called Coils, My Crown is My Garden, and it's an ode to hair. So I don't know if y'all are familiar with the Crown Act. So the Crown Act is a law that prohibits hair discrimination in the workplace. So if you have Afro texture hair or curly or wavy hair, this law protects you. And so this is an ode or a response to the law. Remember when India Ari sung, don't need ya silicone, I prefer my own, what God gave me is just fine. My kinks and coils don't need to be defined, not sleeked nor greased. My afro grows and flows up and outwardly, stretching the laws of science, defying gravity. I am magical, and the world lives inside me. My hair reflects God's nature. It's the texture of thick bark on trees. Just hydrate my strands with rain, castor oil, cocoa butter, and baby, I smell like a sweet honeybee. My 4C is lovely, loud, a freedom of expression is phenomenally made beautiful. I was kissed by the king who nourished my roots in holy water down to the cuticle, the follicle. My crown is my garden. And each seed that I plant, it blossoms strong and abundantly beyond the white soil of embedded conditioning. They taught us to think that nappy meant dreadful, taught us to feel ashamed of 4C hair that can't be contained with their bobby pins. But our sister locks don't bend to Western beauty conformity. As I rebel like Angela and march for peace, my curls and coils be dancing in the wind, boldly and free. Our magnificent hair was made to wonder, made to stare. In orbit, stardust, and black infinity, for all to see that the standard is kinky, it's coily. Don't need ya silicone, I prefer my own, what God gave me is just fine. And so I sing the song like India Ari, because I will be naturally me. I'm gonna show you an image in the book. All right, and then this final one is called A Letter to Love Yourself. I always end my performances with this poem, just because I feel like it's a message that we all need, especially in today's chaotic world. 1 in 4 Americans are contemplating suicide, and I think it's higher than that. I think it's really 1 in 2, right? And 1 in 2 of us feel alone. So I don't know, I think it starts within, and so I always like to say this message is like a affirmation piece. Love yourself. Do not believe society's standard of beauty, because truly, you are a masterpiece. Created by the master God, you are beautiful. Your skin and bone human, you are not made of metaphors, but your strength is fire. It's never ending, it doesn't burn out. Let no one hold your power. You're the queen, king of your tower. Breathe. And so you found the strength to keep going, so hold on just a little longer. What doesn't kill you makes you a conqueror. So you've got to be brave. David conquered your Goliath and slay. Just love yourself. And nah, I'm not talking about buying a new pair of shoes with your fresh taper cut or your brows on fleek, edges sleek, so you shared a tweet and now you're feeling yourself. I'm talking about healing yourself from the roots of your core. Because if you won't acknowledge who you truly are, then what is your purpose for? So this, it's a society that made you feel like you're black is not a boastful believer. And this, it's a society that made you feel unsatisfied with the skin you're in. Fall in love with your imperfections, skin, smile, face, collarbones. You are a blessing, and don't second guess this, because I absolutely, indefinitely, wholeheartedly love me unconditionally. Do not believe society's standard of beauty, because truly, you are a masterpiece. Thank you so much, Dave and Irene. I appreciate that.
Put it together one more time for Dralandra Larkins. Thank you so much, Dralandra. Well, we have more than one blessing tonight. We have a blessing that comes to us from Marine on St. Croix. And our dear friend and longtime collaborator, Ms. Rosie Peters, has brought with us some of her poetry company from Marine on St. Croix, known as Arrow Broken. And I would like to I'll be introducing the first 2 folk, and then I guess Rosie's going to pop up, introduce the 3rd person, and then Rosie's going to hold forth for a minute, which is a real extra special treat for us tonight. So our cup overfloweth. All right, well, let me just welcome, come on up, Noah Brace.
Hi, I'm Noah Adam Brace, and I came from Marine to come out and speak to everybody and read a little poem. This is something that was created out of like a stream of consciousness writing, just kind of like recent things that were going through my head and ideas and feelings, things that I thought meant a lot. When I think about how it all works, I find little miracles littered all over the floor, in the attics of abandoned dreams, in my chest, and a short embrace. Looking up into the night to ask the reasons why your mother feels more like a bad friend and less like a safe space. Trying our best to cover a long distance between the head and the heart, and the fallen art of making a difference, sitting next to a good friend trying to navigate the loss of losing his mother. What happens when a vessel that brought you into this world transcends back into the matter of the earth? And something about containing multitudes and where your particles go after you leave. When I'm not dreaming, I'm crushing hell between these molders I'm not a threatening thing, just an apology of a couple who made a mistake worth making. Your leaving felt like 1,000 hurricanes, and we're still clearing the debris of memories echoing. Trying to fill all these empty containers with the idea of joy. It's hard to think about anything when you're in pain all the time, and time seems more limited every day. The older I get, the more I understand why my mom always took the back roads. You can find me there.
One more time, put it together for Noah. Next, we want to welcome Kate Seitz. Come on up, Kate.
Hi, I'm Kate Seitz. I'm with Arrow Broken Poetry Collective, and I'm so excited to be here. This is awesome. You guys are legends. Whew. I thought it was going to be kind of like WWE or wrestling, so I came ready to like throw it down. So here we go. This poem is called Late Arrival. Write what you know, they say. I know they say these things to help me feel like less of a failure when I fail to write, like Oliver, Frost, and Angelo. Morrison was in her 40s before her bluest world was born, they say, as if this is a lifeline for me well into my lifetime. The roads I've taken so far have led me to woods and rivers through exhaust fumes on freeway overpasses, while passing over childhood, college, first job and marriage, a child and then a second. And all that time I was growing, life overwatering me. Now I'm a potted plant suffering root rot. I need a way to drain the excess and nourish the good. How do I sift through the love and the losses and honor my desire to be on your bookshelf next to ocean, olds, and limon? I think you can help. Tell me what you know. Tell me truth. What I know is that I am late to this party, but I showed up, and I am here to stay. Thank you. Thank you. Since Dralandra was talking about suicide, I'm going to share a poem with you that I wrote couple days after my 12-year-old daughter's best friend took her life. And that's what changed my life. That's what I had the skills and the community with Rosie and my poetry community to find words and to find a way to stand up the day of Vivian's funeral and share this poem. It's called 5-Letter Word. If you think time is linear, then you haven't been paying attention to the signs. That Vivian's just-released spirit was communing with the New York Times games editors last week, or a month ago, or whenever they write those things, so that 2 days after she died, I could be lying in my car in the library parking lot doing the Wordle between therapy appointments, mine and then yours, when a feeling of thankfulness came over me. And how could I be feeling that way so soon? But I did. And I played the word thank, and I got the correct answer on my second try. And I took it as a sign. And the next day, the Wordle, which I got in 3, was faith, another sign. And tomorrow, if there is tomorrow, the answer will be grief, which is certain, but is certainly not linear. Thank you. Thanks so much for having us. Thank you.
Rosie's going to introduce the next, or you're going to read and then introduce? You're going to read. Oh, my goodness. All right, you all are in for a treat. And I hope Rosie stretches out for, for a minute for us here tonight, because it's a blessing to have her in the house, and the rest of you too. But I'm sure you're going to enjoy what she has to say. Rosie Peters put it together.
Thank you. This first poem that I'm going to read, I talk about Sundance. I don't know if anybody's been to a Sundance ceremony or knows what Sundancers do for us. But I want to explain this part real quick so that you understand the reference. So what a Sundancer is they make a sacrifice. They dance for 4 years, for all 4 directions. It's one of the most selfless acts. They suffer willingly for us, for me and you and all of humanity and creation. And it is believed that what the Sundancers do in that circle ripples out to heal the world. And each day, there's 4 days that they dance, no food, no water for us. And it starts, and each day represents a season of life. So the first day is summer. That's when Sundance starts. The second is fall. The third day, which is the longest, hardest day for the Sundancers suffering, represents winter. And then the last day is spring. And then that's when we break fast. And there's a big feast, and we all come together. Anyway, I wanted to give that context. Highway 7. You've been here before, he tells me. Right here on this road, with me a long time ago. You probably don't remember. How old was I? You were a baby, 1.5 years old, still in your car seat. I had a red 1966 Ford F100 with a white top and yellow lights. It was winter. Right up here, I hit a patch of black ice. It's coming. I can still see it. There was another truck. He hit black ice too. I tried to turn to miss him. He tried to turn to miss us. We both glide, slow motion, at 50 miles per hour. His voice cracks in the retelling, reliving the first time he almost lost me. The first time I broke my father's heart. We crashed, he said. The engine came through the dash of the truck he loved as his baby went flying out of his trapped reach. Me. He only sees rust and bright red me. I was born with red-tailed wings for flight and fight. I'm looking out the windshield for a landmark to remember this moment when they dart through the sky in front of us, swarm and hover, flap and fold, shadow dancers, urging me to remember and speak, to tell him, your son is a swallow. Actually, he is many now, Dad. He is many swallows. My father grips my hand, his head bowed like the spent sunflowers we will see sprinkled throughout South Dakota. My father seeps in the passenger seat. I saw him this year at Sundance, Dad. He came during the last round on the third day. It was winter. Thank you. Thank you. I'll do one more short one as soon as I get to it. This one's Minnesota. A fifth-generation farmer asks me, what color are your nipples? Another laughs. I know, he says. My ex-wife was part Indian. All the men laugh. Earth, I want to answer, but don't. The color of tendered soil and just as soft. I love my nipples. Loved seeing my children's faces pressed against them, rooting me into their mouths. My body and breasts were built to bring forth and sustain life. The archaic petroglyphs carved into my bones whisper Ina and Wakpa, mother, river. I want to say to these farming men that from my nipples flow the milk of the land their ancestors stole, the land they still own and till. I want to say in the language of Minnesota Makoche, my language, we are Ma Dakota, born a Wichampi, I Ia, I Meni. I am a Dakota woman, born of the stars and stone and water. I am sacred. Thank you. So, thank you all so much. Thank you, Bosso, for raising me. That's what I want. I was just telling Dralandra that I've been coming to Bosso since 2017, and I used to come all the time back when we were at Dusty's. And I don't know. I'm just so grateful. And thank you, Dave and Irene and everybody. About ceremony, you know, this thing that we do, you know, going back to what the elders say about Sundance and how those Sundancers in that circle, they do what they do so that it ripples out to save the world, right? Well, the way that I approach poetry and the way that I look at this room, this is ceremony. What we do here ripples out to save the world, you know? And I have a perfect example. Dralandra and I shared space at the Stillwater Library about a month ago. My daughter, she came with me. And then her teachers from the ALC, a couple of her teachers, they were in the audience. And they heard me, they heard Dralandra. One of them bought the book. And then they go back to school, and then my daughter was given an assignment. The whole class was given an assignment inspired by Dralandra's Ode to the Hood, her I'm from poem. And it is that ceremony, that circle, that ripple that gives me so much joy and pride to introduce my daughter, my youngest daughter. She's going to share her poem that's inspired by Dralandra's Ode to the Hood with you all tonight. Thank you. Oh, Zildja Rose. She was named after drum cymbals. How badass is that?
Hello. I hear you. All right. So she explained it all already. So this is a rough draft. I'm sorry if there's any words in here that sound similar to your poem. I was trying to I'm just sorry about that. If there is, it was just inspiration. All right. Where I am from. Here. I'm from cigarette butts and bruised knees, from lost memories and alcohol breath. I'm from the yellow bus on Main Street and long walks on trails leading me to a place where I can clear my head. I'm from broken promises, from stolen happiness and eyes that couldn't stop watering, unanswered calls. From a woman that couldn't stop working, that was out of reach, and intoxicated siblings. I'm from Rock Point Church. I'm from Everything Okay? Where did you get that bruise? From an absent father that never wanted me to be his, a home where silence settles heavier than dust, and the walls remember what they shouldn't. Where I'm from, being hurt was never a shock. It's a normal thing. I'm from social workers approaching sirens and hospital visits. I'm from unconditional love, family hangouts at Square Lake Beach, aloe vera green gel. I'm from Disney princesses and jealousy of perfect families on TV. I'm from broken wood and white paint, black mold that made me sick. From packing up and leaving, time not spent. I'm from generational trauma and PTSD-infused brains. From an unsafe man being let into the house, pretending to be a dad that only knew how to sexually assault. I'm from I'm sorry. I'm from bonds that knew how to speak love or only hate, liars, drug dealers, problem makers. I'm from high school dropouts, looking for a way out of everything except for the taste of drugs. I'm from fists unleashed, purple/black spots trailing the body. I'm from bail money and 25-cent candy, broken screen doors and windows. From it takes a village to raise a child. I'm from hardships and friendships, the lonely road. I'm from a place that never really felt like home. Home was found in people instead. Oh my God. From the crushed can, dinner nights that ended in a fight. I'm from the bad times, pain, and disbelief. I'm from skiing, rollerblading, and bike rides. From ultimate Frisbee Sundays, Marine Elementary Park. I'm from family nights at Acapulco, movie nights at Oakdale. From agate hunting trips, vacation to Taylor family cabin, and grandpa and granddaughter days. I'm from poetry readings and teenage relationships. From the shallow end, the deep dive, and car rides. From always and forever. I'm from the storyline, the fairy tale, and adventure. From the new beginning and ending. I'm from laughs and cheers, pets and sets. From Funko Pop collection, Walking Dead rewatching, walks and talking. I'm from the lemonade stand business, 4th of July fireworks. From handwritten letters, birthday and Christmas gifts. From trick or treat, horror movies, popcorn popping in the microwave. I'm from Jolly Ranchers and Lifesaver Mints. From playdates and sleepovers, FaceTime and group spamming. I'm from the good times, being in love and feeling alive. I'm from Marine on St. Croix, Brookside Bar and Grill, Arrow Broken Poetry, and Church Basement Fighters. I'm from the good and bad, the ups and downs, and each moment that has shaped me.
My goodness, put it together for Zildjian, please. And Rosie again, and the readers from Marine on St. Croix. You can see that the next generation of poets is well on their way. And thank you. Thank you for moving us. Thank you for moving us tonight. Well, we're going to bring back to the Bosso fold and welcome Mr. Lynn Gray to the stage. And again, thanks to Jason and thanks to Sarah and I don't know if it's Sam that's been who's here tonight with us, but thanks to the 331 Club for offering us this venue to have this marvelous, this marvelous evening. So, all right, Lynn.
This is entitled The Visit. I see you on my street with your freehand lettered cardboard sign. I see the distance in your eyes. You thinking thoughts that linger. You and your pilgrim's feet. God bless the meek. Hard times got nothing on you. Forever young in rags. You a free agent on the road. Hands out. And yes, I see you over there. So I parked my Pontiac Starfire next to the street curb, and I walk over to this lady with her freehand lettered cardboard sign that says, "Anything will do." And I say to her, "I'd like to share some poetry with you." I say, "Look up. You see that jet plane? I think it looks like a dewdrop. And every time I see a man in a suit, I think he looks like a bum sack." And I say, "I've seen 100,000 miles inside of a survivor." And she says, "Well, yes. I'm running downwind outside of fences." And she says, "I got the planet in my palm for the beginning." I say, "Yes, I got the deathbed in my hand for the ending." Well, I say, "Well, I think truth needs witnesses. And she said, well, I sleep with a bug light. And every time I have to make a choice, I choose both sides. I see you on my street. And I see you looking at something far away inside your head with your freehand lettered cardboard sign. You an angel of the week. You got distance on your feet. You a pilgrim of the week. You a pilgrim of the week. Okay, well, hands out. I was born and raised in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. I have a little bit of Cherokee blood inside me running around. One day I was out in my alleyway emptying my trash, and there were a couple of Ojibwe Indians, and we got into talking. And I said, well, you know, I got a little bit of Cherokee in me. And they looked at me and they just laughed their ass off.
True confessions. My goodness. All right, we're going to welcome up now Mr. Scott Vitch, one of the founding members of Bosso Poetry Company. Much water under the bridge.
Thank you, everyone. Great to see all of you here from far away. I'm going to read a Halloween poem. It's really going to be worth it. Called The Realization of the Mummy. My favorite Halloween costume was a toilet paper mummy, wrapped tightly round a white union suit, ends fluttering like in the movies. Marching in the Halloween parade, ego held in only by my windings. I could walk right up to people I knew and remain unrecognized. Edge into a group and gesture with voiceless familiarity. I was feeling pretty omnipotent till some kid asked how I went to the bathroom. This is called Kon-Tiki. Bill grew up on an island. Its water tower stood high above a sea of corn. He and his friends learned about life on their island, then got cars and crossed the corn to another island like Vikings in search of girls. The prayers of Bill's youth began as conversations with a gray-bearded God, but evolved into the desperate petitions of a universe he hoped was listening. He didn't want to die, but sometimes we do things we don't want to do. When he told his father he wanted his hat as jeweled and spectacular as a goldfinch in flight, the old man gestured to the trees, replied, "Go drab, kid." The limbs were spiked with sparrowhawks. His father told him when the Victrola's spring broke at his uncle's chicken coop party, the kids took turns spinning the discs with their fingers so the folks could keep dancing. The island girls all married early, but at times wandered off with the next pheasant hunter who came to town. They spent the rest of their lives waiting for that periodic postcard from the edge of good taste. Hotels posted signs imploring them not to clean their birds in the bathtubs or use the towels either. Rags were available upon request. Where do you spend your dog-sitting money now? Was how they phrased it, how they discussed the tedium of eternity. It took courage to accept the cornfield perspective because we all want to be somebody from somewhere. The size of the lawn you mowed was a measure of your marriage. Bigger was not better. Gambling was Bill's last treehouse, but regrets loomed larger than a Cornhusker homecoming. He learned to exercise caution with his day drinking, but in relation to living in an opportunity desert, bluebells still wilted in the afternoon sun. Bill always said, "Life's not so bad when you know there's just a little bit left." He was chicken-eyed, looked long, saw short. One more like that. I've been kind of working on these ones, so some of you may have heard this, but it's a little bit different. This is called The Things He Thinks Are True. The meth pinata pumpkin drop was well attended. Everyone went to town on it, crashing in like a tsunami of dollar store dustbusters. The low barrier entry helped people hit rock bottom faster, quickly locating their last straw. Polly hailed me on Bridge Square wearing a prospector's hat, pine needles in his beard like he fell out of a treehouse. "You from here?" he asked. He didn't mention why he was wearing a Coast Guard approved life preserver, and I didn't ask. His companion wore a filthy gingham prairie bonnet, Hello Kitty backpack over her shoulder. An oil field is no place for a woman. She told us that more than once. And how many nights he prayed for a bag of weed. He always wants the freedom to punt, she explained, or run a quarterback sneak. So here we are in the wrong market, shopping for a starter marriage in the Cool Whip aisle. Turns out we went to high school together. "I'm not a team player," he said. I'm totally off grid. What she thought was me was a phase, sometimes a short phase, sometimes longer. Always up for symbolic conversation, he noticed geese flying overhead and neatly changed the subject. "Hello, birds in a V. Hello, snake in a coil. Hello, hungry cougar hunting." In tales of his childhood, their father was a wounded bear. It was like growing up in Denali and lingered like chewed up habaneros. hollow as a bell. He crashed into adulthood clanging, his shadow gone, every photo fallen off the wall. He liked to count on things but couldn't. Ended most days on a stool at Rick's rock pile. He said it was always Wisconsin somewhere. Indoors he verged on spicy, fragrant as a scented candle when his hat heats up, crawling with bark beetles, bubbling with suspicion. He cursed summer's departure. Cruel sun, he sneered, took her back again. But he fell just as hard for autumn, flag flown at half-mast, happily trading green for brown. A lot of people drinking there worked at the Sulphur Springs Senior Center. It was a scrub-heavy tavern, not into probiotics. A place no one could leave without a tornado in their hand. Grief is nature's #1 turn-on. A drought-stressed oak throws off 1,000 acorns. A lonely old man thinks only of fucking. It's a semaphore. Someone's gotta dish up the goo, throw it out there and see what sticks. His mom made sure he got his graveyard plot, but said she didn't want one. Didn't need anything. But moms do need things, a whole lot of things. Put that in your poetry book, she said, with this invitation to Sunday sauerkraut supper. America unhinges us. He wants to give his good hand, but due to circumstances can only use his left. Every heartfelt inclination becomes a transaction. Every human act a calculation. Shadows grow long and blue. Shelter-in-place Thursday becomes the new national holiday. Windsocks are run to the top of every flagpole. She nodded knowingly. Definitely a different kind of meat raffle. On good days, she led him into the sunlight. At first with lots of snarls and growling, until he understood. The shadows inside were bigger than the ones that spilled out onto the sidewalk. I could stop right here. I could do one more. Okay. All right. It is about my grandma called Hazel and the Holy Rollers. Grandma came from a free-thinking background. Her mother was a Quaker, her father a divine do-it-yourselfer. Entertained the Methodist minister when he turned up Sunday afternoons to play checkers and discuss life. She'd outlived her contemporaries, the black diphtheria, accidents, whiskey, and war had taken the best. Left her with the kids she hated in school, the tattletales and the goody two-shoes. Widowed and in her 90s, she was the last human alive on the farm. Grandma wasn't much for TV. Living alone out there, she drank coffee and read cartons of trashy romance novels that she and her friend Lucille passed back and forth. They'd known each other since school, both witty and irreverent. Lucille had a bum hip and didn't get out much unless one of her sons drove. True. Grandma loved conversation. She sat up till 4 in the morning with visitors, started out with coffee and ended up with brandy. Only now her late night philosophizing cohort had thinned down to me or Dad. Grandma was a make-do kind of person. If you didn't have strawberries, you used rhubarb. If you couldn't travel, you read the National Enquirer. If you didn't have visitors, you made do with evangelists. The farm was between Zimmerman and Crown on County Road 4, a main stem for short-cutting truckers, salesmen, evangelists, and bar-hopping drunks. Grandma had no patience for salesmen or drunks. She found missionaries weak-minded, but admired their moxie to get out there. When they came to her door, she invited them to pull up chairs at her kitchen table. There were Mormons, Seventh-day Adventists, and Jehovah's Witnesses. Grandma lumped them all together as holy rollers. You could say Grandma had an interesting spiritual life. She passed herself off as a Methodist. But an hour into that conversation, and you realize she played her dogmas fast and loose. She loved Native American beliefs, wasn't adverse to a little UFO speculation, and then there was that unearthly chanting heard from behind her bedroom door when she finally went to bed. That sounded like a wrestling match with some dark deity. Grandma wanted me to say I believed in Jesus even if I didn't. If you stated this oath, you were granted eternal life. She didn't see a problem with an all-knowing God knowing whether you really meant it or not. I told her when I died I'd look for her out there, and that seemed to satisfy her. A kind of dog paddle through the protoplasm, a wading through eternity, floating in that great expanse like the survivors of some maritime disaster, calling out for loved ones, gripping the wreckage. Grandma believed spirituality was an open-ended question, but those holy rollers started shifting in their chairs at that kind of talk. They were trained to push a doctrine, but Grandma pushed back. Fear and shame had no effect on her. She only sought a good-natured exploration of the unknown. After hours of philosophical end runs, the holy rollers were on the defensive, just trying to get out. They left Grandma each week with a few more pamphlets to read, and Grandma left them with a renewed challenge. They hadn't come to question their own beliefs, but Grandma loved a good debate. The holy rollers could save 3 souls on a good day, but Grandma took their entire afternoon and left them with 0. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Mr. Scott Vetch and his grandma. Give it up. Well, now I want to welcome somebody near and dear to my own heart. It's Irene Alderson's turn. Come on up, Irene.
Yeah, what a powerful evening. And I feel a little bit scared to come up after all of this wonderful reading, but here I am. And you probably noticed that there is a full moon tonight. Yeah, time to howl. And its name is inspired by creatures that build and stock their lodges for winter at this time. Beaver moon. To chew is to live. Teeth on wood, bark and branch, leaf and root, die if you stop. Night is day. Full moon a pool. Listen. Dive at the slap of a tail, your prey. Great bear swings low. Water is your road to home and food. Aspen, birch, willow. Drag it up, pile it high, mud the cracks. Stock the cupboard, a secret deep. Before ice and snow close in, and silence descends, a deeper night. More critters in this poem. Hosing down the house on a fall afternoon. Dirt sprays off easy. But it's like cleaning a haunted house with sheets of web as sticky as packing tape. When the jet strikes, they cohere into a ropey, shaggy gray tangle. After an initial spray, resident spiders that sheltered under siding and in corners emerge, scurry away from the flood. I pity them. Tease them onto a piece of mulch and land them on the lawn. Later, I learned that web builders see poorly, use vibrations from their own silken fiber for guidance. So maybe my rescue efforts just added to their distress. Meanwhile, the arachnid fairy is running out of steam. A large, active spider hides behind the brass eagle above the garage door. Can't reach her, so I spray the dust off quick, hope she's tucked away. Finally done, I realize I'm no cold-blooded spider killer. Next job, clean the basement. I can foresee the moral dilemma there. The holidays we all love have their somber side too. Halloween's end. At what age I stopped trick-or-treating, I don't remember. Its luster faded over time, just as the imagination that once animated my dolls turned to fantasies about me, and I quietly put them away. Coincidentally, the realization that baby fat was cute no longer put a damper on the annual candy orgy. In my 16th year, my father died suddenly at home on a wrenching New Year's Eve, darkening that holiday forever after. My youngest sister, his adored treasure, was 9. The Halloween after his passing, I took her out trick-or-treating when it should have been our dad. Wet snow coated street, grass, her witch costume, and my drab corduroy coat as she bounced up to houses with beckoning porch lights and jack-o'-lanterns, said 3 magic words and added to her stash. For that brief time, my sister broke free of grief that paralyzed my family. Her joy glowed as I stood in the shadows, watched from across a gulf of sadness. Thank you.
All right. Once again, Irene Alderson. Now, we are ready to invite Patty Peterson to the stage. Please put it together for Patty.
Thank you, Dave. This is called The Concert. Rain was turning to snow. I had forgotten about the concert, thinking we'd be in Mexico. But when the TV weatherman said, "Go early, the roads are bad," I knew what he was talking about. I decided to try my luck and jumped in the car. After a slow and treacherous drive from Minneapolis to St. Paul, I pulled into a parking ramp far from the stadium to avoid the traffic. The cavernous space was empty aside from 2 cars and a van covered with graffiti and a clump of parking tickets under the windshield wipers. I considered finding a safer place, but the concert was about to start. After pressing the elevator button several times with no response, I found the stairs and scurried down. The metal door slammed shut behind me, locked. A man lurking outside gave me the eye. I'd have to worry about all this later, and hurried down the street. "Any tickets left?" I asked, catching my breath. "I'd like the cheapest." The gray-haired attendant, probably a retiree like me, peered at a computer screen. "One behind the stage," he said. "I'll take it." Just then, a thunderous roar went up. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band had entered the arena. I found my seat high up and close. I could see all 19 musicians spread out on the stage among the guitars, violins, saxophones, drums, microphones, and amps. Hundreds of people crowded in front of the stage, dancing and singing in beams of light. 16,000 others doing the same thing in the surrounding darkness. Hours of this. I was barely able to dance a minute more when the saxophone sounded a long, seductive wail. "Do you want to go home?" Springsteen asked sideways into the mic. "No," Van Sant answered with a smirk. "Do you want to go home?" he asked again, upping the ante. "No," Van Sant leaned in. "Neither do I," said the boss, bringing the house down, and the band soared to new levels. When it was over, I sat down and watched the arena empty out. Having experienced something sensational with so many other people was exquisite. Outside, figures in coats, collars pulled up, fanned out in every direction. Glops of white snow fell on the city lights. All was beautifully quiet. It was late by the time I reached the parking garage. A few ominous characters lingered in the dark. With the door to the staircase locked, there was no pedestrian way into the dismal building, so I quickly walked up the exit ramp, watching for headlights. The two young women wheeled around The curves, smiling. We shrugged our shoulders and went on our ways. Thank you.
Thanks, Patty Peterson. Put it together for Patty. One more time. All right, we're going to invite Lynette to come back up and share another one since she was so generous with her time earlier today. One more go round from Lynette. Rainey Grandel.
Apparently, I didn't use all my time. So, okay, I'm going to try. I don't know if I've read from a phone before. Okay, so this is going to be part of the same Finnish historical fiction. Same character, Mari, but now she's remembering an experience when she was 12 years old. So it's 1890s something in Finland. And I want to thank Dralandra for reminding me I'm supposed to say things like, thank you. This project is made possible by a Minnesota State Arts Board grant, and thank you, voters of Minnesota, for supporting the arts. Okay. So we'll see. I think I can get this in the right amount of time. So Mari is remembering the past, and she was 12 again. Her clothes spread onto a blanket, preparing to roll and tie everything into a bundle. She had considered not bringing them, and then there was the problem of the necklace and her mother's ring. She had solved it by taking a needle and thread from the Torp house's new tenants and sewing them into her skirt. The memory still made her feel like a thief. Had they ever missed them? Then Mari saw herself in the main house kitchen 2 weeks before she had left the Lapua farm. She had huddled, weeping, perhaps for her mother, perhaps for herself, while everyone went out to the farmyard to greet the minister for his customary visit and meal before he made his circuit to the next parish. There was the usual noise of greetings from the yard and front of the house, but also a scuffing sound that did not sound quite right. Louder than a cat, but quieter than a person. And then she saw a person's pale forearm reach over the lower half of the door, feel for the latch, and silently unhook it. It was a boy as tall as a man. His forearm confused her because now that his arms and sleeves fell to his sides, she could see that he was wearing a coat. Perhaps he was not wearing a complete shirt under the coat. He scanned the room, but did not see her under the table in the corner, knees drawn up tight, partially hid by the pine bench. She watched as he glided over to the place where the loaves of bread hung from the ceiling in their protective net. He pulled down too. Then he lifted the floor tile where the cook always kept some cheese and sausage cool. How did he know that was there? And then he was gone, like an apparition. She had waited until she was sure he would not come back. Had he really been there? She glanced at the hollow space where the loaves had been. There were still some loaves there. Would anyone notice the others were missing? She did not dare to lift the tile to see if a sausage was missing. She was afraid the cook would feel the heat of her fingertips on it. The boy, man, ghost had shown her how to leave. This time, as the minister's carriage pulled into the farmyard and everyone assembled to greet and be blessed by him, Mari had crept to the kitchen. Unlike her ghost thief, she looked carefully to make sure no small child was hidden under a bench or table. But then she realized her error. She was not tall and could not simply pluck 2 loaves of bread out of the safe nest. She walked back to the half door and latched it again. The rationale was hazy, but she needed more time to pull up the bench and try for the loaf that way. She stood on tiptoes and tried to reach for the bread without falling, stretching her small body sideways for just a little more height. Yet as her hand pinched the first loaf and lifted it over the net's edge, she heard voices that told her people were entering the front room. She stepped down from the bench and quietly lifted it back to its customary place by the table. But there was no time to exit. She dove under the table, stuffed the bread behind her, squashing it hard against her bundle. She pulled her knees to her chest and began to whimper. "What's that sound?" It was the cook. A sideways face appeared under the table. Mari blinked through her conjured tears at the woman. "It's just that little girl whose mother died. She can't be crying over this forever. She has to work if she doesn't want to starve. Some starve anyway, and it hasn't been that long. Have a little kindness." Mari heard the cook's intake of breath and the sound of a heavy kettle dropped onto the stove. "Have a little kindness. Mind the stove here." Mari crept away from the farm after darkness fell, feeling the road ruts with her feet to keep her bearings. She tore small pieces of bread from the loaf, chewing it carefully to make it last. Walking was easier when the moon began to rise, a sliver that helped her stay on the road south toward the farmstead where her grandmother once had a little home, one even smaller than the torp, a chimneyless savupirti, a smokehouse. When the moon had made its way more than halfway across the sky, she found a hay shed with open, airy slats to burrow in and planned for the next day. If they had looked for her, she never knew. She had done them a favor, subtracting a stomach to fill. It wasn't that she expected to see her grandmother. Her grandmother had died 2 years earlier from the same coughing disease that had killed her mother. It was what her mother had told her she must find in the stand of pines between her grandmother's smoke hut and the river. Mother had buried a few coins there in a birch box to protect them. "Why bury them?" Mari had asked. "Why leave them behind?" Mother had explained she didn't want people to know she had the money, that they would be envious and send to give her a better explanation. In the morning, Mari meticulously picked the hay off herself and washed her face and neck by smearing her hands on the hay stem's morning dew. She ran her fingers through her fine hair and carefully pulled apart the places where it had tried to twist and knot. She must look like an ordinary girl on an ordinary journey. She smoothed her hair back, circled it into a bun, and then tied a headscarf over it all. The scarf was not particularly clean, but she hoped no one would notice. Then she set feet to the road again, this time nodding greetings to anyone she encountered. A slow-moving wagon pulled along by a stout brown horse rolled past her at an interminable pace. She watched the horse's plate-sized hooves move past, then the person driving the wagon, a long willow whip branch in his hand. They made the briefest eye contact, and Mari was shocked to realize he could not be much older than she. A frisson of indignation ran up the back of her neck, and she wondered why no one at the farm had suggested that she drive a wagon. Surely she could have sat and clucked at a wagon horse as well as this boy. But she had to let it go for now. She was on her way to find buried money. Her mother had not said how much it was, but if it was something so significant, her mother thought it would attract attention. It must be a lot, Mari reflected. But she should not get her hopes up. It might not be much, just enough to buy food, maybe some better clothing, something that would help her get a respectable job, maybe not a farm job. She was good at baking, her mother told her that. But who wouldn't want to be rich? Another cart went by her, the horse moving at a trot. It reminded her of the minister's fancy cart, but it did not stop. No one was looking for her. No one had missed the needle, the spool of thread, a loaf of rye bread. As she listened to the wheels spin down the road and the fading jingle of the horse's harness, she realized she had nothing to dig with. In desperation, she gazed back and forth along the road. She couldn't dig with a rock or a stick. A distant farm with outbuildings lay across a field, but it would be too easy to be spotted there. Could she find someone at the farm where her grandmother's smoke cabin was? She tried to picture the layout, the little cabins spaced apart on one side, the barn to the other side, and the pump house closer to the main house, and the pines. She must be walking along the river now. She could smell it on the other side of a green thicket. The sign marking the turn was still there, and now she was climbing a little rise away from the river. She came into a familiar yard, waving at a few of the farmhands, just as she and her mother used to do when she would come there with her mother. They nodded back at her as she turned towards the Crofters' homes. A different kind of panic struck her now. There would be new people at her grandmother's place. She couldn't go to their door. They might be suspicious, maybe even report her to someone. They might think she was trying to take back the house. Her feet faltered as she walked up the worn path to the building, with its familiar logs cut through an off-kilter smoke hole that had always made her think of a missing tooth. Her throat caught as she saw the small entry door. The last time she had been there, she was small enough to stand up in it. Now she would have to stoop to get through it, just like the adults. But then she saw it, a miracle. A trenching shovel was propped against the wall next to the small door. Her footsteps grew decisive as she walked toward it and picked it up without stopping. She walked past the house as quickly as she could without breaking into a run. She thought she heard a sound behind her, but was afraid to look back, afraid to stop her momentum. Now she had found the tree, just as her mother described it. She located the spot where she should dig and leaned onto the shovel to push it into the dirt. There were so many tree roots crisscrossing the shallow dirt. Some she could break through with the shovel, but others she had to dig around. How had her mother buried something in a place like this? Had the tree roots grown over the spot where her mother had buried this box? How long did it take a tree to grow roots like this? She brushed the sweat from her forehead with a dirty, blistered palm and enlarged the area she was digging. The sun was sinking, and soon she would not be able to see anything. Had her mother really ever buried treasure here for her? Or had someone come later and taken it for himself? It was only then that Mari realized how much she had come to depend on finding something, anything, even an empty birch box. She dropped the shovel and sank to her knees, keeled forward, and began to shudder with deep sobs. She was vaguely aware that someone was touching her shoulders, but she did not want to look at them, as if acknowledging another person there would also force her to acknowledge her utter failure, her complete helplessness. Presently, 2 sets of hands were helping her stand and guiding her back to her grandmother's savu pirti. As the man and woman helped her through the low door, she saw a candle glow and breathed in the familiar smoke scent of her grandmother's home. They led her to a bench next to the table and took their places on the opposite side. Then they looked at her calmly, as if readying themselves to wait as long as it took for her to tell her story. Thank you.
Thanks again, Lynette. Please. Bosso poetry is not an open stage by a long stretch. However, we do try to accommodate readers who show up during the evening, and if there's room, we invite them to come to the stage. So Jason is helping to set up for Gary. Gary Q to come up here and do a short bit for us, and then we have one other guest, and we will wrap our program. But thank you so much for being here tonight. You really have made it very special. Everybody here, the hardy souls that are still here late in the evening. Wednesday night from 9:30 until midnight does not fit into most people's schedules. So give yourselves a round of applause and, acknowledge you are stout of heart and constitution to still be standing when most people are not at this time of night on a Wednesday. So I'm going to let these guys get sit up here, and here comes Gary. All right, welcome him to the stage.
Okay. This song or poem is about the unmanifested nature of the universe before the Big Bang. Echo back. Before the Big Bang. Absolutely nothing. Or nothing. Or nothingness. Lost vibe. Of the songs. Manifested nature. Manifested nature. The power of infinity. Different dimensions, everything, freedom of anything.